agree. Let's go. Come on, let's go.
Mums and dads have all been there. Your child starts to cry or throw a tantrum in public, and quite often, how you deal with it can make or break the situation. Our parenting panel this morning consists of parenting expert Allison Schaefer, blogger Anjum Nayar, and we welcome filmmaker dad Kunle Bristow to the panel for the first time. So good to see you all.
Thanks for having me.
And we're doing this kind of on the heels of the walk off the earth tantrum aboard the plane. She gets kicked off. We don't know exactly what happened on that situation, but you know, I think there isn't a parent out there that could go, oh my, we have been there. And it's difficult to be able to control it. Part of it is being, you know, just being a parent. You're going to have a kid, and that child at some point is going to have a tantrum.
I mean, it's bound to happen. And I think moms, as moms, when we see it happen, we feel really empathetic. We want to reach out. I know I've had this happen in airports, and I want to give them something. I want to help them. I want to say, is he okay?
Yeah.
But I don't think dads get judged the same way. I really don't.
You don't?
No, because my husband we were at Disney, and my husband actually, I guess my son lost his pacifier. We were on a ride, and all these women from the Disney store came out and helped him and said, here, would you like a pacifier? Here's where you can go to get one.
Oh my.
I mean, I think the expectation is if you're a mother, you should be in control of your child. Which can be a lot of pressure.
You're nodding there, Kunle. I was just...
Yeah, there is an expectation. I think that people's expectation of guys is so low.
That might be it.
It's like, oh, wow. Well, I'll go out and people are like, oh, you're babysitting. It's like, no.
Babysitting?
Yeah, that's offensive, isn't it?
Right.
Yeah.
So, you know, I do relate to the feeling bad when you see the child having a tantrum and feeling bad for the parent, because sometimes I do a nod, like, oh, yeah, I've been there, I get it. So I try and set up situations when I met with my son to set some parameters as to what we're going to do and where we're going to go to try and avoid the conflict. So before,
prepare them.
Exactly.
You just want to set it up for them and say, here's what you're going to expect. We're going to be on the flight. We're going to be on a road trip. Here's what you're going to do, and here's what we're going to, you know, these are the parameters for you.
Do you think there's an assumption, though? I mean, maybe if you've been a mom and you've been there, you might be a little more sympathetic. But on behalf of others, that the person who's got that tantruming child, maybe a mom, is not being a good parent.
Well, that's the thing, is that it's the judgment factor that you're saying. You're worried that they're judging. But, you know, anyone who's raised kids know that they will tantrum when they feel that they're going to be successful. So you'll have kids who will never tantrum at home, because at home you're more likely to be a better disciplinarian because nobody's watching. But when you're out in public, the kid knows, if I lie down and scream, you're more likely to be embarrassed and cave, and I'm going to get what I want. And so they tend to be worse in public for that very reason. So it's important for us to not have that worry about judgment. And as you just said, actually, mostly people are saying there, but for the grace of God, go I.
Yeah,
like, I'm with you, sister or brother. Like, it's honestly, mostly we are very empathic, but that's not the person who is feeling like they're supposed to know what to do in the moment. They feel a tremendous amount of pressure.
Restaurants are a biggie. We've heard headlines over the past little while. A restaurateur wants to say, okay, no kids, or there's other parents that say, or other people that say, I don't think that toddlers should be allowed in restaurants. You know, most of us would say it's preposterous, but some would say, well, wait a second, it's fair for someone to have that environment.
I think if you're in an atmosphere that's fine dining, I mean, I think it's the restaurant's call. I mean, they own the restaurant, they can do what they like. And if their customer base is predominantly non-parents, then they're allowed to sort of, I guess they're allowed to say that. I think like a Jack Astor's or another family-friendly environment, or, you know, one of those kinds of places, to do that, I think would be quite preposterous.
No, I agree. You need to train your children so that they can act in the socially appropriate manner for the place that they're going to be. And so, like, if you're going to take your kids to, you know, a big show in downtown Toronto, and you just forked out hundreds of dollars for theater tickets, you got to hope that you've had a child who's gone to a Cushion concert at the local library, so that when they get up and start moving around and yelling, that you can say, no, 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 not here. We need to sit down. If you can't sit down, we need to go. Because if you're sitting there ruining people that have spent all this money on tickets, and you have not trained your child to be in that environment, you are offending other people. And the onus is on you to remove that child.
Were restaurants a tough one for you?
They were a tough one.
I know they're older now, 8 and 13, but yeah.
My daughter, or my son rather, he didn't really know how to say he was finished when he was down his food. So what he would typically do is actually pick up an empty plate or a bowl and just throw it on the ground. So that, I mean, that happened.
Ask for paper plates at the restaurant.
No, seriously. It ended up that we both had to like develop reflexes to catch the dishes as they flew.
Wow.
But it was in Greektown, and people got, they thought it was cool. They thought it was interesting, and there was a lot of leeway there because there are a lot of families.
Oh, it's so tough, Allison.
See, I would say you need to show me that you can manage this skill before we go out to a restaurant. Or if you can't keep your plate down, then we need to leave. But I set it up as a training experience. So don't do this on Father's Day or when you're trying to have a nice outing or whatever. You need to say we're going with the intention of teaching this skill, and if it goes wrong, then we're going to leave or implement a consequence or whatever.
And share some consequences and just say, we're going to pull this away from you. You're not going to get this. You're not going to get the iPad, or you're not going to get something because you misbehaved. So you've got to.
I do think that just getting the location ready. Taking advantage of when a child knows they can tantrum. Like we were walking outside of a cafe, and my daughter will start jumping up and down. This is when she was way younger. I want a cupcake. I want a cupcake. And what I would do is just join her in jumping up and down. Completely catch her off guard.
I want one too.
We are going to have to leave it there. Thank you all for coming in. Thanks so much.